Welcome back to the seventh rotation. We're here with another coach interview for you. And this time it's North Dakota's Jesse Tupac. Coach, thanks for joining us again this season.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Madison.
Absolutely. Well, we might as well call you the 5-set Fighting Hawks because you're always doing this to me. We're 2 weeks into the season, the conference season, and 2 out of your 4 matches have gone 5 sets. And actually 33% of your matches overall have gone 5 sets, including West Virginia. And that's the one I want to start with. What was it like to get that Power 4 win so early in the season?
Yeah, I think for us, it was great confirmation that all of the things that we're doing are pointing us in the direction that we want to be going. We've got some players this year like Madison, Maddie Horniak and Elizabeth Norris and Paige Barber and Izzy McCormick who've been starting for us for the last 3 to 4 years. But we've also got some freshmen and sophomores that are in some major roles as well. And so to be able to see all of those different classes and players really jiving together so early in the season was something that was really exciting for us and definitely gave us some more motivation as we got deeper into non-conference play.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned in the pregame before ORU last week that you felt like you had some things to clean up after that for those first couple conference matches. What were those things that you were focusing on, and how did you kind of see that play out against ORU and DU?
Yeah, I think number one was that we were breaking in a new lineup in the Kansas City match from what we had been doing in non-conference, and so one, just helping everybody feel comfortable in the slots that they were in and being able to work through all of the different little nuances that they have to with their teammates that they're playing with and next to was really important. But also just our ability to clean up simple plays. And whether it's a free ball coming over the net or somebody who's not in a position to score as an attacker and needs to be more of a roll shot or a tip or something like that. I thought there were some points that we left on the table that we could absolutely capitalize on. And those two things, plus maybe the third, was just our ability to stop our opponents' runs earlier, to not let 3, 4, 5, 6 points in a row go to the other team. And that was very apparent when we played Denver, where literally every single set was a grudge match. And it was back and forth. I don't know if any team scored more than a couple points in a row at any point in time over all 5 sets of that match.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, you're running a 6-2, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought that, and then I was like, I don't think they did that last year. So I went and looked at box scores from last year, and I was like, they did. I'm crazy. But talk to me a little bit about Tegan Timperley and Elizabeth Norris. I feel like we maybe see more of the 6-2 kind of at the mid-major level. I don't really feel like we see it at the Power 4 level, but as well as what you've got on the right side and just the skill that kind of allows you to do that.
Yeah, I think for us, it's always a question of what's going to be best for our team this year. We have 3 really good setters. We have 3 really competent setters in that space, but we also have a lot of really powerful and potent right side attackers. We've seen Cal Cooper, we've seen Katie Revere, we've seen Vanessa Emo all be really strong for us in that position this year. And so for us, it's like, okay, well, how do we not have all of these attackers on the floor if we have the ability to have them in those spots? Other times we've got somebody who's just really good on a slide, and we're like, okay, well, let's make sure that we're getting opportunities to find her in that space as well. So the last couple of years, it's been in the 6-2 for us, in part because Elizabeth Norris has been so strong hitting in the front row and then setting in the back row. And it just so happens that this year, Cal and Vanessa Emo, who are both freshmen for us, came in and had producing at a really high level. But Katie Revere, who's also been on the team for the last 3 years, and her and Elizabeth and Tegan all can set and hit for us. Katie's just having a season as an attacker. And so we're able to be in a 6-2 and to dub sub both of our setters for different opposites. But then when we run out of subs, we're usually running out of subs with some combination of Tegan, Elizabeth, and Katie in the game, and all 3 of them set and all 3 of them hit. And so it makes it really interesting because we'll run out of subs, but nothing really changes for us. Whereas when we played Omaha, they also ran out of subs because we all went 29-27. And they had a 5-4 libero playing in the front row for them, right? And so it makes it really unique where like we can do different things with our lineup that still put us in advantageous positions even as things get tight or subs run out or different things like that happen.
Absolutely. Well, I want to move to talking about defense. No Marissa Stockman, no problem. Washington and Santos Lugo seem to be handling that responsibility just fine. Talk to me a little bit about what they've been able to contribute in the middle for you.
Yeah, I think for us, it's not a surprise. It might be a surprise for everybody else because when you graduate Casey and Marissa, who are both playing professional volleyball right now, Casey's in Spain and Marissa's in France, and they're both tearing it up. But when you graduate 2 6-year senior middle blockers, and we're both really good, it's like, okay, well, how are you going to replace that? Or, what are you going to do in that situation? And the reality is that Caroline is unbelievable player in so many different phases. She scores points with her serve. She's a great blocker. She's really potent as an attacker. And she's a great out-assistant setter and defender as well. We played Ora Roberts, and she had 8 days and 5 sets. And Ora Roberts' best defender had 10 days. So she was almost matching the best defender on the other side of the net as somebody who's only playing in the back row for half her rotation. And so she's in her 5th year as well. And so she brings some really nice upperclassmen leadership. But then we've got Vanessa Washington, who's a freshman from Atlanta, Georgia. And she's incredibly athletic. She touches 10-6, and she moves really, really well. And so for her to come in and to have Caroline to look up to and learn from, and to be able to hit off of setters like Elizabeth and Tegan that have been running our offense for the last few years, it's really allowed her to step into that role in a pretty big way as a freshman straight out of the gates. So we're really excited for her progression, but also the production that we're getting from Caroline, because she's crushing it as well.
Yeah. Turning to this week, you've got USD at home. They're second in hitting percentage overall this season, inclusive of non-conference. You guys are second in opponent hitting percentage. What's the message to the team as you get ready to face kind of a high-octane offense, not only in USD, but then go on the road to SDSU as well?
Yeah.
Undefeated SDSU.
And they're having an awesome year. Dan's doing a really nice job with all the new athletes that he's got in his roster. And South Dakota is always good. And it's fun because the last 3 years, I mean, we've gone 5 with South Dakota every year that I've been here. And year 1, it was Elizabeth Junkie, who was all world. And our libero the week before had gone defensive player of the week. And they matched up and battled against each other really, really well. And then last year, we had kind of a similar battle, a really strong offense from South Dakota, and us coming down and punching back in every chance that we had, and going 18-16 in the 5th set. Was a lot of fun. And we know it's going to be the same thing this year. Leanne does a phenomenal job getting her team to work really, really hard in all phases of the game, on offense, on defense, from the service line. I mean, I was going through some video last night just to get our scout together, and not a lot of people are passing in system when they have to play against South Dakota. So they're not only going to be really physical, but you're going to be off the net a lot, which just makes it even more fun because it seems that our 2 systems seem to really match up in a way that we both have advantages and we both have things that we want to shore up, and it's just always a really fun battle.
Yeah, I feel like that's every match in the Summit League. And I'm biased, obviously, but I mean, I turned like St. Thomas beating USD. I was kind of paying attention. It was on my second screen, wasn't really watching. And then I kept looking over and I'm like, what's happening over here? It's super exciting.
St. Thomas goes out and sweeps Kansas City and South Dakota in the weekend. And the weekend before, they lost to NDSU, but NDSU is beating Denver and losing to Ora Roberts, and we're beating Ora Roberts and losing to Denver. I mean, it's conference chaos all over again.
I have no idea who's going to make the tournament. I'll tell you the week before. Like, I mean, it's just, it's going to be chaotic. Yeah. Coach, my last question for you. This is your 3rd year. In your first 2 years at UND, you got the team back to the conference tournament, went from a 1-win season to a 12-win season. Entering your 3rd season, what kind of growth have you seen in the program, and where do you hope to take it?
I think for me, it's been most awesome to see the growth of the leadership and the culture around the team. We're clearly getting better at volleyball, which is really awesome to see. We're crushing it in the classroom. But for us this year, what was even more apparent was that there are a lot of things that I don't really have to talk about with our team anymore, because our upperclassmen leadership is just crushing it and way on top of that before we even get in the gym. In college volleyball, our team is allowed to have open gyms together over the summer before we're actually able to start working with them in August. And so we don't really have any say or direction in what's going on there. But it's cool when you walk in on day 1 of practice and our freshmen are already up to speed with a lot of different things. Like, Elizabeth told me that, or Maddie told me this, or Paige walked me through that. And so it allows us to hit the ground running way more and feel like we're way further along because of that. And that's no discredit to the upperclassmen that we had in the past, but the reality was that they were new to me in year 1, just like all of the freshmen were as well. And so now that we've had some people with us for the last few years, it allows us to really start at a much further rate than we normally would. Absolutely.
All right, that's Coach Tupac of UND. The Fighting Hawks will host South Dakota tonight at 7 on Midcoast Sports and Summit League Network before traveling to Brookings on Saturday to play the undefeated Jackrabbits. Coach, thanks so much for your time and good luck this season.
Yeah, thanks, Madison. Love the podcast. I appreciate you just doing everything that you can for the sport and for the conference.
Thank you.